This is Living in Alignment, and I am your host, Amy Starr Allen. On this show, I will bring you simple strategies, inspiring interviews, and my own personal insights to help you discover what it means to live your life and run a business from a place of true alignment. My goal is to help you give up the struggle and help you to see that life and business can be easy when we live and act from a place of intuition and inspiration. This and all episodes of this show can be found on my website at amystarrallen.com. Enjoy the show. Welcome back to the Living in Alignment podcast, and I am your host, Amy Starr Allen. Yeah, I just wanted to have a conversation today about a big milestone that I recently hit. Some of my thoughts around it based on a couple of conversations that I've had with people that have asked me about this milestone. So I'll start off by saying the reason I decided to record this podcast is because a dear friend of mine, Robin, reached out to me a couple of days ago, and she's inside of my community, and she reached out to congratulate me for having hit this milestone, which happened on May 7th. Today is May 20th. Robin reached out a couple of days ago. So it had been, about 10 days since I had hit this goal. And she said, I don't know if you've been kind of celebrating it. I haven't seen anything about, you celebrating it or anything like that. And, it made me realize that I really should be celebrating this milestone. And one of the reasons that I kind of didn't is because one of my closest friends died on that week on Tuesday, which was May 5th. And I found out on Wednesday, he died in a motorcycle accident. I found out on Wednesday, and then on Thursday, the 7th, is when I crossed the finish line, or the line for this particular milestone. And so when it happened, it was a really weird feeling that I had going on, because I was still in shock and grieving, and I still am grieving his death. And because he was such a close friend and inside of the community where I hit this milestone, he would have been probably the first person that I would have been celebrating it with. And so when I hit it, and I was still kind of processing the fact that he was gone, and I couldn't reach out to him, and I was just feeling really weird. It was just like a really weird feeling. It was like, I felt like my heart was going to kind of explode, because I knew, I'm happy I crossed this line that I had been reaching towards. And I'm also really sad, and I can't celebrate it with my friend. And so I just didn't really do anything with it. I'm still kind of processing it, and I am celebrating it, and I am very excited about it. So I'll start off by telling you what the milestone is, obviously. And then I'm going to share a conversation that I had with another friend of mine that kind of brought up a lot of things around my mindset and my mentality as far as, walking towards our purpose and our goals. Because a lot of things were revealed in that conversation that I had with my friend. So the milestone that I just hit, it's called Triple Oak Benefactor, and it's inside of the community that I am a part of. I've been in this community for 7.5 years. One of the things I love the most about our community, a couple of things I love the most about our community, is that every sale that I make as an affiliate for my company, part of every sale that I make gets donated to an organization called Feed My Starving Children. And it's not coming out of my commissions. I get paid an 80% commission on my sale, and then out of the 20% that's left over, a percentage of that gets donated to Feed Starving Children. So I love that about my company. I love that every single thing that I do is contributing to feeding starving children. Every sale I make, everything that I, all the work that I do contributes to that. So I love that. And then the other thing that is so amazing to me is that inside of our community, we don't have ranks. We don't have a leaderboard. We don't have any of the ego-based metrics and things that a lot of companies have, which create a level of sometimes unhealthy competition, a level of ego. Look at me. People are striving to be at the top of the leaderboard for egotistical reasons and not for any other reason sometimes. It creates a feeling of less than for the people that aren't on the leaderboards. So I love that we don't have that here. Everybody is is treated equally. Everybody is friends with each other. There aren't different groups of people. Like when we have live events, it's not like the leaders are off in one corner and everybody else is somewhere else and everybody's in these cliques. And if you want to hang out with the leaders, you have to buy a VIP ticket to go to dinner with them. That's how it's been for me in some of the other places that I've been in the last 21 years that I've been an online marketer. And it's not like that here. And I really do believe that part of the reason that it's not like that here is because we don't have the leaderboards. So we don't have separation. We don't have better than, people occurring as better than others or anything like that. The way that people are recognized in our community, there are two ways. One of the ways is through character awards, which is amazing. And those are awards that they give out at our events, and they give people awards just based on who they are in our community, like the Bringer of Light Award or the Grateful Heart Award. Like there's just all these really cool awards based on who people show up as in our community that have nothing to do with how much money they've made. And then the other way that we get recognized in our community, which has to do with the milestone that I just hit, is called our Benefactor Awards. And these awards are based on how many meals have been contributed to feed my starving children based on your efforts. So we have some different benefactor awards where, you get a trophy, and then the first big one is called Oak Benefactor. And for that one, you get a crushed diamond ring. It's this incredible ring made out of crushed diamonds. And it basically signifies, when you get that ring, it signifies that you have contributed yourself personally 5,000 meals to starving children. So when I was working on hitting that award, I had created a thermometer, one of those thermometers that you can, I was filling it in as I went, as I was getting closer to my goal. And around the thermometer, I had pictures of the kids, before and after pictures of some of the kids, when they were like emaciated to where they were like nourished, and just their smiling faces. And just, I had it on my desk. I still have it on my desk actually in front of me, so that it just reminded me that, everything that I was doing was going towards that cause. When I hit the 5,000 and I earned my ring, it was such a huge, momentous time in my life. It just felt so good to me. As a matter of fact, and I think I shared about this in one of my other podcast episodes, shortly after that, I had my ring on and I had gone to do my first ayahuasca ceremony in Colorado. And I don't know if you know anything about ayahuasca, but it's a plant medicine. It's a psychedelic plant medicine, and it was really intense. I went there, to heal some trauma and stuff. And in my ceremony, one of the things that happened was I looked down and the ring on my hand was glowing. And I saw this vision of like 5,000 kids standing in a line coming to me for their food. And I actually got the impact of what it actually felt like to have fed 5,000 kids or provided 5,000 meals for them. And I was sitting there in my ceremony just crying, and not just for what I was doing, but I was thinking about what we're doing as a community and the impact that that's making in the world. At this point, we have contributed hundreds of thousands of days worth of meals to starving children. So to be a part of that and to know that I contributed 5,000 days worth of meals, it just felt amazing to me. And to see that visual when I was in my ceremony was really, really cool. So that was my Oak Benefactor Award. And then from there, I got my Double Oak Benefactor Award. And then the milestone that I just hit is the Triple Oak Benefactor Award. This means that I have now contributed 15,000 days worth of meals to starving children myself. Like my own production has done that. And it's a huge milestone. Like I get emotional just talking about it and thinking about it. I'm really, really proud of that. Each time once you get your ring, it has a little tree on it which is kind of our emblem for our company, the Tree of Life. And each time, when I got to double oak, they added another tree to my ring. And so now they'll add another tree to my ring. So that's really special. And really, it's important for me to just sit here and think about the fact that I contributed 15,000 days worth of meals to starving children through my business. Like, that's crazy to me. Like, I have tears streaming down my face right now. By the way, I decided I didn't want to be on camera today. Sometimes on my podcast, I do a video version of it as well. And I just have a lot going on in my life right now. And I've just had a lot of sadness and stress and things going on. And I just decided, I just don't want to be on camera today. So I'm not on camera today. So otherwise, I would show you my thermometer and the pictures of the starving kids, and I would show you my ring and all of that. But this is just going to be an audio today, so I'm not going to do any of that. But, I love the ring because it's something that I can wear on my hand. I also have, a beautiful trophy for each of the awards that each of the milestones that I've hit. But those trophies, I don't carry them around with me. They're not always with me. The cool thing about the ring is it is always with me. Not only is it always with me, but I can always see it because it's on my hand. So I can always touch it. I always say I feel like it has magical powers. I really do feel like it has magical powers. There's so much good energy associated with that ring. Anyway, so that's the milestone that I just hit. When my friend Robin reached out to me the other day to say, hey, I wanted to personally congratulate you. And I hadn't seen you celebrating it anywhere. Are you celebrating it? And it made me realize, like, I hadn't really taken the time to celebrate it because of, the way it happened with my friend dying 2 days before I hit the milestone. It just made it hard for me to feel like celebrating when I crossed that line. And I am someone that always says it's really important to celebrate all of the wins in our life. And I wasn't doing that. I was doing it. There was part of me that was just really happy about it and excited about it. But because of my grief and my stress and sadness about even other things that are going on in my life, like I just hadn't allowed myself to really get present to this milestone. So I was really grateful that she reached out and said that to me. And it made me realize, like, I really do need to celebrate that. And I really do need to share some of my thoughts about it. So one of the other things that happened right after I crossed the milestone, the founders of the company announced it on some of our masterminds that I had reached this milestone, and that they said nobody in the company has ever done this before other than the founders of the company. So, it's a huge honor. It's a huge honor. I don't take that lightly at all. Shortly after that, another friend of mine in the community reached out to me. His name is Gio, and we had a conversation about it. And he just said, I really want to congratulate you. That's such a huge milestone. And I've been trying to get to Oak Benefactor, and I feel like I'm so behind and I have to catch up. And seeing you reach Triple Oak really makes me realize that I need to go a lot harder. He just wanted to ask me some questions about it, but he was basically saying, like, I think to myself, who's out there in the world that I can connect with that really needs to be a part of our group? He said, that's how I look at it, as a search to see who we can find that needs to be a part of what we have. And he said, I remember when you created your thermometer and you manifested it, and it looks like you compressed time. And I feel like I'm moving like a tortoise. So I'll start off by saying that and I'm going to talk more about this, but I don't believe that we're doing any kind of a search. I don't think that we're looking to find people that need something. And I don't feel like we need to go hard like he was talking about, right? What I said to him is, all we can do is shine our light and attract the people that want to be here. It's almost like, when you shine a light in the dark and it attracts the mosquitoes or whatever, It's like that. Like you shine your light and the right people are attracted to your light. And we attract the people that want to be here, and that's it. So I told him, you're right on track. You're not moving like a tortoise. You're right on track. And then he said, I just need to get some good people in. People that are committed, people that see the vision, people that really want it. And he said, sometimes I can get a lot of people to sign up, and other times it's slow. Like, do you hear the word get? The word get is in there. I need to get some good people in. I need to get people that are committed. I need to get people that see the vision. I need to get people that really want it. And sometimes I can get a lot of people to sign up, and other times it's slow. And he said, I need to grind it out so that I can get over the hump, and it's going to be work. And then he asked me if it sped up for me once I hit Oak Benefactor, if it kind of sped up for me since, after that. He said, it seems like not that long ago you were Oak and now you're triple Oak. So what I said to him is, I have a completely different mentality than you do. I don't believe in grinding it out, and I don't look at it as work. So again, he said things like, I need to find people who are committed. I need to get people to sign up. I don't think about any of it that way. The only thing I think about is consistently doing my work, my marketing, which is putting out value on YouTube. That's what I do. And I just put out the value that's in my heart to share, and trust that the right people will be here. Trust that the right people will find it. Trust that the right people will find their way here. Trust that the people that are meant to be here will be here. And the ones that are meant to stay will stay. So I'm not looking for people that are committed, that are going to stay forever. I'm just shining my light, and people will find their way here. And some will love it here and stay, and others won't. But that's not up to me. I'm not doing some type of a search to only find the ones that are going to stay forever, because we don't know. Nobody knows until somebody comes in to our community, or anything for that matter, if they're going to love it there and want to stay or not, right? By the way, this business is, my income is based on residual income. And so as I, earn these milestones in my business, it also signifies another level of residual income that I have earned in my business. And that residual income is based on all of the subscriptions that people are renewing every month. And so the residual income comes from the people that stay, and some people don't stay, and that's part of it. But what I noticed is what he was saying was that he's searching for the people that are going to be committed, the people that are going to stay. And I don't do that. So that's one distinction that I just wanted to make, is that all I'm doing is thinking about doing my work. I'm not putting any energy into grinding. I'm not putting any energy into getting people to come in. It just happens as I put one foot in front of the other. So the only thing I'm focusing on is what I need to do that day, what I need to share that day. It has never felt like grinding. It just feels like staying in alignment with my message. And that's it. And then as far as the speed, he was talking about how it seems like you've compressed time. So as your residual income grows inside of your business, it compounds on itself, right? Because a percentage of that income, the residual income that I'm earning every month, there's a percentage of that, like I explained before, that is getting donated to starving children. So as my residual income grows and it compounds on itself, like I'm making more sales, but I'm still getting paid on the sales I've made in the past. So it compounds on itself. I'm still getting paid on my previous sales. I'm making additional sales, and my residual income is growing. And as that's happening, I'm feeding more kids every single month. So it does speed up over time because of that. And the number of meals that I'm contributing grows every month. So it's a pretty cool thing. But the work doesn't change. Like, that's the most important thing. The work doesn't change. It's just about putting one foot in front of the other, and everything else just takes care of itself. And, he was talking about how he loved my thermometer. He liked watching that part of my journey and how I had the pictures of the kids on it. And, what I said to him was, I was newer in the company then. And having that in front of me every day was such a good reminder that everything that I was doing was to feed those kids. Everything I was doing was contributing to that. And every day on my desk, I could see their faces. I could see their before and after pictures. And it felt really fulfilling to fill the thermometer in a little each month and watch it go up and get closer to my goal. And that's a really powerful manifestation strategy. It helps us to stay in alignment with our vision when we can put something like that in place. And it was super exciting. And I was making videos, of me filling in the thermometer here and there. And I will link in the show notes to some of the videos that I've made about reaching that goal, because it was a huge milestone for me when I got my ring. So one of the other things that I said to Gio was like, as I was explaining my approach to things, I told him, like, take what you want and leave the rest. Like, I'm not here to say that this is the only way. This is, I said, you obviously have a different approach to things, which is fine. I've just never been somebody who grinds. Like, for me, it's about just being consistent and staying in alignment with my message and putting one foot in front of the other. So after I explained all this to him, he said, so it's basically the law of attraction. And I'm seeing it as work. And when I'm doing the work, it doesn't seem fun because it just seems like work, and I'm taking the fun out of the whole journey, right? So it is attraction. It is the law of attraction. And it's what we call in the marketing space, we call it attraction marketing. So I'm not trying to get anybody. I'm just doing my thing. Like I said, I'm just shining my light, and the right people are attracted to it, and the right people come in. So I've been doing attraction marketing for like 20 years. What I love about it is it's much different than, some of the marketing strategies that were often taught, especially like when I got into my first business, was network marketing, which I don't do anymore and I don't want to ever do again. But I did do it for a long time and I did have success in it. But one of the things that they taught us to do was to like call our friends and family and invite them, right? That is a strategy that still works to this day, and a lot of people do it. I just don't do it. I don't like doing that. I would rather have people find me, have the right people come to me, rather than me reaching out to people and inviting them. I would rather just put my message out in the world and have them come to me. So that's what we call attraction marketing. That's what I've been doing for the last 20 years. And it definitely really, really, really works for me. And when he was talking about how he sees it as work and it just doesn't seem fun and he's taking all of the fun out of it, I was saying to him that the higher you can keep your vibration while you're putting your value out into the world, the more people are going to be attracted to you. If you're putting content out or doing things just for the sake of putting it out, just for the sake of doing it with some type of an expectation, like I'm going to get someone to sign up from this piece of content, it's a much different energy than just staying in alignment with your message, keeping your vibration high, being in a positive state when you're putting it out there, unattached to any result. So for me, this has always created a better result, but I'm not focusing on what the result is that it's going to create. I have no attachment to any result. I'm just focusing on being in a good state when I'm putting stuff out there, staying high vibe when I'm creating my content, when I'm creating my message, and the rest takes care of itself. And then he asked me if I thought that he was coming across with a low vibration. And I said, first of all, no. But my belief is that it's not about how it's coming across. It's about the state you're in when you're putting stuff out there. In other words, the way you feel when you put your content out there, your intention when you put it out there will determine how it's received by the other person. If your intention is to get somebody in rather than to provide value and shine the light and know that the right people will find you and your content, those are two completely different intentions. So it's not really about what you say or how you say it. it's received in a certain way based on the state you are in when you create it. So I'll give you an example and if you've been following me for a while, you've heard me say this a million times, but I always put things out on the first take. In other words, I shoot a video and I use it on the first take. Sometimes I'll look at the video and realize my posture wasn't good. Maybe there was some background noise. I forgot to say something I wish I would have said. I said something I wish I wouldn't have said. There are all these reasons why in my mind I can think, well, I should redo the video. And I've experimented with this over the years. And here's what I found. The reason that I like to always use it on the first take is because when I do the first take, now I'm not somebody that uses scripts. So if you are somebody that scripts things out, this might be slightly different for you. But for me, I always speak from my heart. I have like a topic in mind, and then it's just stream of consciousness into the camera, right? I turn on my camera and I start talking. If I try to redo the video and do a second take because I forgot to say something, there's something, I wanted to say differently, I want to stand differently or sit differently or have better lighting or whatever it is. When I do that second take, now I'm in my head. I'm not in my heart anymore. I'm trying to remember the things that I wanted to change about the video. I'm trying to remember to say the thing I forgot to say last time. I'm trying to remember to say something differently than I said last time. I'm trying to make sure that I'm sitting in the light with good posture. I'm no longer in my heart. Now I'm in my head. And even if the video looks better to the eye, or maybe the audio quality is a little bit better or whatever, my experience has been that it never lands the same. Like the way that it's received by the person on the other end is completely different based on whether I'm coming from my heart or coming from my head. And I know that might sound a little bit woo-woo for some people, but this is what I believe, and it's proven to be true for me over the life of my business. And so I actually believe it even more in this day of AI and how much scripted, edited, artificial stuff is out there. The more real something comes across for people, the better it's going to be received. And that's always been the case. But I think in this day and age, it's like a breath of fresh air. So the less we can be in our head and the more we can stay in our heart, like set our intention, be high vibe, and then just speak from our heart, the better it's going to land with people. So like I said, to me, it's not about what you say so much. It's about your intention and your vibration and your state when you're creating your message. And this is why mindset is so important. I think a lot of times people get caught up in strategy. Like, oh, you hit Triple Oak Benefactor. What's your marketing strategy? And I can tell you what my marketing strategy is, but that's not the most important thing. Mindset is the most important thing. And it's something that I think people don't take seriously enough. I believe that the majority of the work for anybody that's successful is in the mind. It's not physical work. It has nothing to do with marketing strategy. It's get your mind right. And it's not just in business. The mindset stuff carries over into all areas of our lives. I have some other situations going on in my life right now where it's easy to spiral out into a negative mindset. For example, my house has been on the market for almost a year. I've been trying to sell my house. And the more time that goes on that the house doesn't sell, the easier it is to be pessimistic and think that it's not going to sell, or I'm not going to be able to get the price that I want for it or whatever. But as long as I have a pessimistic mindset about that, it's not going to work out the way that I want it to. There are other situations going on in my life that's the same thing, like where the more time that goes by, the easier it is to be pessimistic about it. And when I see that happening, I have to remind myself, get your mind right. And it's a lot easier for me when it comes to business to have a positive mindset because there's evidence that it works for me. It's always worked for me. So I have evidence that it's going to work out for me in business. The personal stuff, I don't have evidence that it'll work out. It may or may not. So it's harder to have that positive mindset, but it's just as important. And mindset is huge. It's everything, and that's where the work is. That's where the majority of the work is. I just want to say this again. I know I mentioned it before, but this is the way that I think. This is the way that I, reach my goals in my business and my life. And I also just want to say that this is not the only way. There are people that like to grind it out, and there are people that like to get up at 5 a.m. And I don't believe in any of that. I don't believe that it has to be like that. And, if you listen to somebody else's podcast or go to somebody else for advice about how to hit a big milestone, they might tell you to get up at 5 a.m. and grind it out all day, right? And that works for them. So I'm not saying that the way that I operate is the only way. I'm just sharing, from my own personal experience. Because when I had this conversation with my friend Gio, and he was working towards this goal and feeling like it was taking forever, and he wanted my feedback, which is why I gave it to him. It really made me realize that, sometimes grinding it out isn't going to get you there any faster, and you're going to take all the fun out of it, like he said, which in my opinion is always going to make things take a lot longer than if you stay in alignment, stay high vibe, let it feel like your passion instead of work. I believe you'll always hit your goals faster from that state than you will by grinding it out or anything like that. So that's kind of a little bit about my mindset around hitting this milestone and just how I operate in general in my business. I thought my conversation with Gio brought up a lot of really good points that I thought might be worth touching on and sharing. So I hope maybe this was helpful for somebody. I, of course, would love to hear from you if you want to share if any takeaways that you got. You can, screenshot this episode, share it on social media, tag me, or, just reach out to me on any of the platforms. There'll be a link in the show notes where you can find all of my resources as well. So if you are somebody that is wanting to learn more about, the residual income, the full-time residual income that I've created inside of this company and how we feed starving children and all of that, there will be information about that in the show notes. And I would love to help you work towards your goals and do something really meaningful in the world at the same time. So that is my episode for you guys today. I hope you found value in it. I love you, and I will see you in the next episode. Bye for now. Well, I hope you enjoyed the show, and if you did, please share it with your friends and your followers on social media. I would also love it if you would subscribe to the show and leave a review. Also, be sure and pick up my free guide that contains 4 key mindset shifts that will help you get into alignment. It also comes with 20 daily affirmations to elevate your mind and your business. You can pick that up right now on my website at amystarrallen.com.